Alright, what's up, y'all? So this month I spent 7 days working on studying comic books, doing master copies and style swaps and all these things. And we're going to review it all today. So let's do it. Now, I don't really remember the sequential order of the studies, but we'll just talk about everything that we did this past month. Now, I did only do studies for, was it 7 or 8 days of the month? I only get 12 studio days a month anyways. So it was almost the whole month. I had a project that came in, and stick around next video to see that. I'm really excited. But we'll go back to wrapping up study month. So I do remember the first thing I did was this layout study, thumbnail study thing. Alright, so I figured out how to digitally zoom my camera. I don't know how good it looks. I guess we'll find out when I edit this. But so these were the layout studies, and my intention of these was to study the pacing and use of paneling and overall just storytelling flow. And this was an interesting study. I wouldn't say everybody needs to do it all the time. This is probably if a volume really speaks to you or an issue really speaks to you and you want to know why, perhaps this would be the best option. You might hear my son singing or yelling. Again, I got 2 kids, y'all, so I ain't got no soundproofing anywhere. So bear with me, okay? But I would suggest this studying a couple times to, as you can see, it's mainly more of writing and trying to think about how things were done, why they were done, the philosophy. And I did not finish the entire issue. I didn't really feel the need to. This was me translating what I had learned onto just a quick little story. I did this live in the video. So layout studies was interesting. I did some facial expressions, and these helped me, especially like Aaron Conley with how he was stretching the face and just the overall stylization already of the characters. Godzilla Skate or Die. I learned how to keep things a little bit more simple. And Kill Audio was interesting. I don't know. It was okay. I guess interesting is not the right word. It was meh. I learned a little bit, but not a lot from it. I Hate Fairyland. Scotty Young tends to really get crazy with his, so his were, I didn't draw the same things, but they're somewhat similar to Conley's in a way. So the facial expressions, yeah, I'd say try it out because it helped me experiment with my own facial expressions for my own characters. See, I do kind of remember the order a little bit, so we'll switch to this. So this page is a master copy from the Middle West. It's a comic drawn by Jorge Corona, written by Scotty Young. And I do suggest doing a couple master copies of these like this, right? Pretty much every comic artist, it may range a little bit, but to my knowledge, so many of them just use 11 by 17 Bristol paper. You guys can get this stuff at Michael's. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. Well, maybe not Hobby Lobby. Of course, you can get it at the art store. You can get it online. It's not a super expensive paper, but it is a little bit higher end. It's great paper. Amazing paper. You can do watercolor on it. It's very different than cotton paper, but you can still do watercolor on it. You can do markers on it, inks. It can take a beating. It's amazing paper. Okay. Besides that, doing a master copy of the same size as what their original would be is very valuable. It's even a valuable reference, right? Now, no tracing was involved in this, so I drew it. Some things are not exactly the same as the original, but it really helps me use this as a reference point for how do I want to do this, a styling of something, right? Like, how do I want to do the flannel on a big character? Oh, you can just kind of just lightly lay some lines, boom, boom. How do I want the hair to continue to read the same? Right? It's just little things like that. Like how to do background trees, right? Like, let's see, this should have autofocus, so, right, like the background trees, boom. And like in color, when doing color, right, like the background trees, it'll all make sense, right? Sometimes inking, especially in certain styles, like we'll go to this next one, right? Like inking in this style, it can be hard to differentiate things because it's going to rely so much on the color. So you got to think about what you are planning to do. How do you want to do these things? This is more of a digital style, right? Louis Joyce. This is from Godzilla Skate or Die. It pretty much just works digitally from what I understand. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But I do see a tendency for digital artists to usually rely more on color, and traditional artists to push it more, like this Hellboy piece right here. Now, that's not always the case, right? That's not a proven fact. It's just a noticeable thing that I have figured out. But again, it doesn't hold true all the time, right? Look at all the manga artists. They are basically always working digitally. And but yeah, so if you look at manga artists, mangakis or mangaki, I think that's what they're called. They're all working digital, and you see the range of styles. So I say it like it's not always true. I guess I'm backpedaling a little bit. But the point I'm trying to get across is I am going to be a traditional inker coloring digitally, so I can think about both sides of the realm. My work is always going to have color. I love color. So I don't have to, I can be in between styles if I want. These were pretty impactful studies as well. Same idea as a master copy, but just one panel with the focus, right? So this one, the focus was the text, ba-boom, right? The focus was the energy captured in this panel. And then up here was the environment, the framing, the composition. And studying these things is how you're going to just get better, right? It's how I'm trying to get better. It's how in college we would do master copies, right? This has been a thing for centuries, right? You go back to the golden age illustrators. They were doing master copies, and they were drawing from life, and then they were drawing from imagination, mixing them all. Those are the keys. You got to do this stuff. And it's intimidating at first. I used to hate them, but look how many I've done. And I haven't even got to the rest. I used to hate them, but I hated them in school, right? In college, I went to CCAD. But now that I'm out of college, I don't have a teacher. I don't have somebody to tell me what's right or what's wrong. So master copies are my teachers. These are my professors, my art family. You can pick and choose who you want to learn from. So we'll go through some more. So this was a master copy with putting my own characters into it. And I have been told in one of my previous videos that this is called swiping. And it's been around for a long time. I'm using it for learning, right? I'm not trying to do this inside my own books, but apparently this is a common thing. And again, it's called swiping. But for a learning tool, this is dope. This is really dope, y'all. Because you get to put your characters inside a scene that is already constructed for you. And this isn't something I would put on social media and say it's my own work. But you can use this to understand different ways of doing things with your characters. Now you do got to change the story a little bit to make it fit for your characters. But that's what this was right here. That's what this was right here. This I did change more than the original. Right, the swoosh was like just right here. And I started it here. Now I didn't do the text the correct way. It's fine. This is a study. Whatever. It's okay. That's what I want to get the point across. Because, again, I talked about this in some of my videos. I'm realizing a lot of my viewership is beginners. So, this is why I'm breaking it down this way. Do studies and don't be afraid to mess up. It's fine. Is this an appealing drawing? Kind of. I messed up some parts of the face. I'm not really too happy about that, but I do like the swirling of it. It almost feels hypnotizing. So that's something I can think about for another composition. This is just a straight up master copy, again, akin to the other ones. And this one was about the environment, about the composition, and about learning different forms of contrast. For example, the contrast of details, right? There's no details surrounding this guy. Like, there's a little bit, sure. But there's almost a circle around him of nothing. There's a little bit of like splatter marks. And then over here, there's just an insane amount of detail. So it makes you look at him. And then this is the second focal point, with it being a big face, a face. We always recognize faces first. And it being predominantly just a white value surrounded by darks. Contrast, right? There's multiple levels to contrast. And I feel like surface level, we all learn dark and light. But there's so many different ways, so many intricate ways to use it, to utilize this idea, right? And detailing is one of them. And I thought this was so dope. And I didn't even think about it at first when I was doing the master copy. I just knew this panel. It's from Black Science. The volume is called God World. I think it's volume 3 or 4. Regardless, I did not even realize that when I had picked this panel to do a master copy. So these master copies can help you learn things that, the secret things that draw you in, which is awesome, right? And these don't take too long. Of course, it depends on your skill level. You know, it could take days. It could take a week. It could take an hour, right? This one was about an hour. And it also depends on, are you trying to copy exactly every single line? If you're doing color, it's going to take longer. It just is. Color takes longer. And inking can be done relatively quick, you know? Celine. So this was a style swap. This panel was from a Batgirls volume. I forget the name of the volume, but it is in it's in volume 3, but I forget the name of the issue. But I inserted my character, so that swiping idea again. I don't think I learned too much from this one, other than techniques. So I did learn how to leave white for the contour edges, right? This reflection light. Did I fully achieve it? Not really. I will say the chest and this works. Gets a little lost up here, right? This hand, I did not quite capture it. This jacket part, the original panel did not have. It was one of the Batgirls, and they just had like a skin tight suit on. So throwing a jacket on, I don't think I quite got that. But the thing I love about this, and we'll go again with the idea of contrast, the face is left white, no shading, surrounded by dark. So you guys probably saw this first and then worked your way down. And then when you get down here, even in the original, there was barely any heavy shadows on the shoes, and basically nothing on this rain concrete pavement thing. And these little splashes and stuff, it was really fun learning to do that. I've never really drawn something in rain before, which as a comic artist almost feels like a sin at this point. So I'm happy I finally got one. But this was a copy, so I can't claim it all as my own. This one, god awful. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But it was a style swap. It was actually like taking characters from one comic and drawing them in a different style. And this one just failed. This one was slightly more successful. It still feels unrealized, not fully finished. But doing these style swaps, taking one comic or manga, drawing a character from that in a different style from another comic or manga, it can help you understand the style and translate parts of a design over to something else. I'd say do it a couple times. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. All right, this one would have been amazing if I want to messed up the shadows. Basically, you'd use the wrong color, then I try to cover it up with another color, and it just went downhill from there. But the styling worked pretty well, right? Clearly, this is Mikasa from Attack on Titan, and I had what was the style? Bram Revel, mainly his work on Jennico the Fifth Turtle, specifically from the issue titled Monsters. Really dope, little one-shot story, really emotional. But regardless, the styling here relies heavily on color, but it's effective, and once you do it, you can make it feel loose but tight at the same time, and it was really cool. This is Bone Beaver from Kill Audio, and this one was okay. Like, himself is fine. The speaker just feels rushed, and And I probably did rush it. I'm trying to get better at stop rushing these things. Because sometimes I can take my time. But I'd say it's like, I don't know, 80% of the time I can slow down and take my time. But then there's still that 20% where I'm just like, rah, 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 rah. And I gotta try to clean that up. I think that was the last one I did. Yeah. Okay, so the point of this video was to share my work of what I've done for the past month and to give any beginner or artist around my same level different ideas to study. Now, clearly, I am a comic artist. That's what I want to do. So that's what I studied. But you, the viewer, you know, you may want to be a concept artist, or you may want to be a fine artist. You may want to do graphic design, this, that, what sculpture, whatever. The process is still the same. Find your people. Find your artists that you like. Study their work. They'll be your professors. They'll teach you any problems you may come across. Like, all of this stuff is invaluable to me because I can pull it out when I'm stuck and use it to help me achieve my own great compositions and my own great character work and line work. And I definitely suggest doing it. Now, I'll rank it in order. Let's get a piece of paper. All right, so this is in order of helpfulness and impact that the study had. I will also try to take into account the time that it took and the time that it could take you, depending on skill level. So I would say the first one is the single panel master copy. These you can really do quickly. And sure, some could take some time, right? I know somebody that they spent 30 hours on a single panel master copy. Now, granted, that was a Berserk, and Kentaro Miura's style is insane to translate. So, of course, that one took some time. But, these are single panels, and each one took about an hour for me. And it was an hour of time that will continuously help me for some time. You know, it could help me for the next year. Facial expressions will be number 2. Forgive my writing. I'm trying to avoid the camera. This is 1, 2. Now, I put this one here because at the end of the day, we're drawing comics, so we're drawing characters, and these characters have to emote, and they have to express their feelings and convince the viewer or the reader of what is being said in the script. And this, I will say, choose something that's closer in the style that you work in, right? Like if you notice here, right, I did not pull a Marvel or DC superhero comic because usually those are more, they rely more on realism. So they're not going to break the face this crazy. So I stuck around stuff that is closer to what I am making. Thirdly, master copy of a full page. Right, where did mine go? Right here. Takes a lot of time. Right, mine took, I think, about 2 to 3 hours, somewhere in that range. But again, different skill levels. It could take you a lot longer, could take you a lot shorter. And it also depends on the size. Now, I will say, for the full page master copy, do 11 by 17. Right, if you're working in comics, that's a standard, pretty much. Some people work bigger. There's like a slightly smaller size that some people work in, but it's the same aspect ratio. And odds are it's 11 by 17. So I will say use that. Now, if you do it smaller, and the smaller the study, the quicker the time. But the ability for fine detail, you can lose that the smaller you go. So that's the top 3, right? These all I suggest. Outside of the top 3, these will be in no particular order. Okay. Would be the, I already forgot the name. Was it swiping? Swiping. I guess that's just what we'll call it. I don't really like that word because it feels like I'm stealing it, which I guess you kind of are. But again, this is for studies. This is not for work that you're making money off of, right? I'm not trying to be an AI artist stealing everybody's work and then being like, yeah, I got this. No, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get better. This is how you do it. So swiping, right, that's this over here. I think it's really a cool way to try out something with one of your characters and to learn how to draw what it is that interests you. What was the other thing I did? The layout studies. So where are these? These did not take too long. But it's a lot of writing and a lot of thinking. And I feel like doing this, you will not gain anything if you're not thinking about it, if you're not writing about it, exploring it. That's what you need to do when doing these type of studies. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing them all the time. And again, I would only say do it for an issue that really speaks to you. I did one that kind of spoke to me. It probably would have been more beneficial to do something from Black Science. It's like one of my favorite comic runs of all time at this point. But it does teach you pacing, right? Now, this would probably be cooler if you did like some color coding, right? The main character is this color. The side character is this color. Yada yada. That could help. And these aren't, with these, the reason I say do all the writing is because these drawings are so tiny and they're so abstract that it's not really going to teach you anything looking at them. But the writing, explaining, exploring this idea, that is where the real learning from this practice comes from. And that's all I have for you guys. That was 5 studies that I utilized over the course of 7 or 8 days this past month. I encourage you to try a couple of these, especially one from the top 3. Start with the single panel master copy. That one is probably the best bang for your buck at first because of the time commitment you need for it. And I guess it depends on the panel you chose. If you just do a little talking head panel, that shouldn't take you too long. Right. I guess again, it depends on your skill level. It could still take you a couple hours, or it could take you like 20 minutes. But I would definitely say just try one of these. And for those of you who are not into comics that have watched this far, let me know what you're into down below. I have friends in different industries. Shoot, even myself, I am also a caricature artist. That is my main professional art thing right now, is doing caricature art. But I have the resources to help. I have resources to help you guys if you want it. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you're into. All right, so I hope you guys got something from that video. I know I did. And I really hope I can share that with you. Let me know. Again, whatever you're into art-wise, let me know down below, and we can talk about stuff for it. Now, my next video is a major career milestone for me, and I'm so excited to share it with y'all. And it's just got me filled with joy. It isn't something substantially big, but for me and my career, it is. So I guess it's big, but it's not something super big. But anyways, it's still a milestone, a checkpoint in my career as I climb the mountain towards the direction that I'm going. So thank you guys for watching. Check out the next video. Peace.